Hello, everybody. This is Genesis Office Hours number 37. We've actually made it 37 episodes. I'd like to welcome you aboard today. I have a very special guest that I'll introduce here in just a second. Now, I know you enjoy talking to. But first, I would like to give a shout out and thank you to our sponsor today, Winning Agent. It's more than just an amazing real estate theme, if I do say so myself, for the Genesis framework. It's actually a suite of services available for realtors, and right now they're running a special for $449. You can get Winning Agent installed on your site and set up. Pretty good deal. You can check that out at carriedeals.com/winningagent. So all of that said, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the very amazing and cool Tracy. How you doing?
Good. Hello. How are you?
Doing all right. Now, I forgot to ask you pre-show, do you pronounce your last name Levesque or?
Yes, good job.
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm sure you get a lot of strange pronunciations on that.
Definitely, yeah, many.
Oh yes, the joys of last names. I get called some interesting things as well, which you wouldn't think because Dills is pretty straightforward, but
yeah,
apparently not. So the way this works, if anybody is, or not if anybody, I know there's folks listening live right now, if you want to use Twitter, just and ask any questions, either about the Genesis framework, about business, about, I just nearly called you Jimmy. Tracy.
You can call me Jimmy, that's cool.
Then tag that with the hashtag GOHchat, and we'll get that answered on the air. If you're listening after the fact and you're here via iTunes or whatnot, then I encourage you to listen live next time so that you can get your questions in. But, okay, let's start with the whole little Jimmy bit, your Twitter handle.
Oh, right. Okay, I have a whole blog post about why my everything is Little Jimmy. So I had one of my very best friends, she gave me this nickname, Little Jimmy. Really long story, read the blog to get that. And it stuck. She was like this really, she had this big personality, and she gave people nicknames, and they stuck when you got them. And her family called me Jimmy. I still have people in my life to this day that just call me Jimmy. But this is the sad part, get ready, she died like 12 years ago. So I kept the name. I keep the name for everything to remember her.
That was a little bit of a buzzkill.
I know. I'm sorry. It's hard to tell that story without like making everybody sad, but it's not sad. It's a tribute. It's she was awesome, and so I keep the nickname. Yeah.
No, I keep you. That's awesome, and yeah, a very cool way to remember a good friend. Well, welcome, Lil Jimmy / Tracy Levesque onto Genesis Office Hours. We were talking a little bit before the show, and I was sharing with you that a lot of our listeners are either freelancers or independent consultants or maybe running a small team. So there's always a lot of curiosity when we speak with someone like you that's running a little bit larger WordPress agency, just kind of about your systems and your processes. And maybe if we could just start by sharing what's your background? How did you discover WordPress? Like, what's your journey to now?
In the mid-'90s, me and my girlfriend at the time, wife now, and another friend, the three of us were really into computers, and we really geeked out on internet stuff. And internet stuff at the time was like you connected through a modem, and maybe you hooked up into a bulletin board, and you did all your email in Unix, and we all taught ourselves web technology. And then I had a job at a TV station, and they had the Mosaic browser, first visual browser before we browsed the web and links. So the three of us were doing this for different organizations we were involved with, and when they were just like, hey, we could get paid to do this, we should start a business. And it was just like that. So that was 1996.
Wow. So yeah. And that was Yikes, or was that?
That was Yikes, yeah. And there were three of us at the time. I was the first one to quit my job and do it full time. And then our partner, Vicky, she quit her job. And then finally Mia. And then the three of us were doing it all full time as a business. We incorporated. It was the second floor of Mia's and my house at the time. And then Mia and I bought a house. And then it was the whole first floor. And there were 5 of us. Then we just kind of grew and grew. And here we are.
How many people do you currently employ?
Now there's 8. We are 8. With sometimes 9, but with an intern, but usually 8.
Cool. And those are actually like full-time employees or just subcontractors that you?
Employees. Nope, no subcontractors, full-time employees. We have an office. We're big girls now. We have an office, a storefront in Fishtown, which is a really cool neighborhood of Philadelphia. Me and I actually bought the building 4 years ago, and we did this. It was these. So we're on this corridor in Fishtown, which is kind of a up-and-coming neighborhood, right? It's this commercial corridor, and these buildings were two side-by-side buildings that were like completely blighted, run down, vacant, scary. So I just, of course, fell in love with them instantly and talked me into buying them. And then we did this entire green building rehab, and now we occupy one of the storefronts. And there's also apartments top.
Okay, we're going to get into that whole green thing
The whole green thing,
a little bit. So when you, like 1996, you incorporated, how did you get leads or find customers? How was that like getting started?
Well, we all came from a nonprofit background, so we really had, we networked within that space. And we did a lot of websites for the bigger nonprofits in Philadelphia. And then when we grew to 5, we hired a sales and marketing director, part-time at first, and then it became full-time. And that person helped us branch out into a bigger circle of clients and customers.
Okay, so it's not just local anymore. You're working all over the place?
Yeah, mostly local still, because people still do. I mean, we're old-fashioned in that we're not remote, and people like to come into the office and meet, and they like to be able to just call us. And people still like that, having a local company to work with. So there's still a lot of local clients, but then we have clients all over the place. We have one client in Paris, a toy store in Paris. Yeah.
Have you gotten to go out there for a meeting?
Me and I were in Paris. We went to this toy store, and it was run by an American woman who's from Pennsylvania. So, and we just hit it off, and then we wound up doing our website.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And are you Philly-based? Is that is that where you're from originally?
I've lived here since 1988, so I consider myself a Philadelphian, even though I'm from the burbs. But I've lived here most of my life, so yeah.
All right.
Philly.
Not burbs. Well, we had a question sent in by Cheryl actually before the show got started. I love me an eager beaver. She wanted to know, she wanted to hear about your business as a B Corp. And if we can start for folks that aren't familiar what a B Corp is, could you just kind of explain that, and then how you went about getting that, or why you went that way?
Why would you do that? So back up a little bit. So back in 1996, the three of us dedicated ourselves to being a sustainable business. Back in the day, there wasn't really these terms like sustainable business or triple bottom line. It was socially responsible businesses. So we decided that's what we want to do. That's the kind of business we want to be, and we've kept that pledge this entire time. Now, B Corporation. So B Corp certification is a really strict certification system for businesses for sustainability. So if you're familiar with LEED certification for green building, it's a point system, and you have these different areas in which you can earn these points. And for LEED buildings, it's like LEED Platinum, LEED Gold, LEED Silver. It's the same kind of thing for B corporations, although it's like you can be certified or not. There's not like a tiered system, but you have to accumulate a certain number of points to be considered a real sustainable business, and not just saying you are and not really. So they measure you in terms of your impact on the environment, how you treat your employees, how you operate with the greater community. So we are B Corp certified, and it's hard. It's a really difficult process to be certified, but it really cuts out the people who are just greenwashing and people who are the real deal.
Now, do you have to re-up that certification annually, or is it kind of a once in you're in?
I think it's biannually, and then we got randomly picked for an audit, and that was fun. Not really. That was that was a pain, but I'm glad. I'm glad there's a way to tell a real sustainable business versus someone who's just pretending to look good.
And was that just born out of your own personal ethos for running a sustainable business, or was that, I'm just going to be crass and say it, a little bit of a business maneuver to attract a certain client base? Or
No, it's not a business maneuver to attract a client. I mean that's maybe a residual of it. Like we really love working with other B Corps because we all get each other and we work well together. It's good network opportunity, but it's not so much so. To make it like, oh, we're just going to do this B Corp thing to like start raking in the cash or something. And it's not like that at all. It's like we are so committed to sustainable business practices because for me personally, a lot of ethical decisions are put in the hand of business owners because of the way this country works. So it really needs, we have a huge responsibility as business owners to do the right thing and make the world better. So that's where I come from with all this sustainability stuff.
Awesome. I knew the answer to that before I asked it. I just wanted to throw a little prod in there.
Oh, sure.
Because I would imagine you're or over 50% woman-owned, or actually 100%.
We're 100% women-owned. I was thinking today, it's like the minority in our office is white men. There's only 2 of them. Of all the different demographics and stuff going on in our office, they're the minority. So how about that?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And does that attract or make you eligible for certain contracts or things, having that woman-owned status?
It does, but the game you have to play to do all that is just not. It's a full-time job. There are businesses that all they do is try to get those contracts to be on the GSA schedule as a certified women-owned business or minority-owned business, and we've looked at it over and over again over the years. It's like, this isn't worth it. Let's just go out and get business because this is not worth it. Because you have to have these. It's a certain way of marketing yourself, and it's just not. We don't want to do it. So I know that some of our nonprofit clients, it's good for them that we're a women certified women-owned business, but that's not why they're using us. They're using us because we're awesome.
Does that help them with their grant writing process?
Yes, I think so. Certain institutions, like they need to, like when we were doing all the building stuff, we had to, if we are getting certain grant money to do things like HVAC or facade work or something, we had to seek 3 quotes, and I think 1 or 2 of them had to be from minority-owned businesses. So yeah, it does help with some people.
All right. Well, to everybody tuning in, if you have questions specifically about working with nonprofits or maybe some of those certifications that Yikes has, definitely shoot those onto the Twitters with hashtag GOHchat. We have a question for you from the vendor, and he is asking if you can talk about the differences in client requirements, budgets, expectations, etc. 18 years ago in 96 as opposed to now. There's been just a little evolution.
They're different from 5 years ago to now, I'd say. Well, I mean, back in 96, it's like we had to do, back in 96, we would actually go to people's homes and get them hooked up on the internet. We would set up their email. We'd set them up with Eudora or something, and Netscape to be able to actually get on the internet. People need to be educated into what the web was, how to use email. That's what things were like in 96. It was even convincing people that you needed a website. Now you don't have to do that at all. It's like everybody uses the web and email, and you don't have, people know they need a website. And back in the day, we were making websites for, I don't know, probably a few $100 or something. Back then, all static, HTML, no content management system, yeah, so things have changed enormously.
In the past 5 years, what would you say are the biggest changes?
The past 5 years, I feel that we've gone through real evolution as a business. So I started using WordPress in 2006. we we were looking for a CMS that we wanted to use, and we looked at a few like Mambo, ORS Commerce, etc. And I never really fell in love with any of them. And then 2006, I had a baby, and Mia found WordPress. Like, oh, let's make a WordPress site, and then I just fell in love with it from there. So from then until now, I've just really gotten serious and focusing on being like a WordPress shop and learning everything there is to know, and just being really involved in the community, and getting employees excited about WordPress, and also just an attitude shift. So in 2008 is when there was the big recession, and that was really, really difficult times. So just digging out of there was really hard, but just having this attitude that this is what we're going to charge, this is how much it costs, and that's it. We are going to create you a great product, but not for rock bottom prices, and the quality product that we give you is worth the price, and that's it. And since making that shift in attitude, it's just like been fantastic. That allows you to have better clients, make a better product, and have happier employees. Like, everything is just so much better when you realize it's like we make a good product. This is what it's worth. This is what it's going to cost. Done.
So do you market yourself as a WordPress agency, or as just a kind of an online solutions, and WordPress happens to be your weapon of choice?
I'd say, well, there's 8 of us, right? So we are actually half WordPress, half Cold Fusion. And everybody usually says, Cold Fusion, is that still around? But it is, yeah. So our biggest clients that we've had since the 90s, they're on Cold Fusion, and they are nonprofit clients. They're we use Cold Fusion. So Mia kind of leads that team. My partner Mia, and wife Mia, who also co-owner of Yikes, she leads that team, Cold Fusion, and I lead the WordPress team. So we're kind of half-half. But we do market ourselves a lot in the WordPress space, like at WordCamps and WordPress meetups. We try to sponsor as many things as we can. So yeah, we do push ourselves as a WordPress company.
Okay, wait. Is Cold Fusion even still in active development?
Yeah, yes, it is. They just had a right before WordCamp San Francisco was the Cold Fusion Summit, and we sent our Cold Fusion developer there. So yes, it's still a thing. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so if anybody's listening and ever needs a referral for some Cold Fusion work, Tracy's your gal.
Yeah.
We had a comment from Paul that he was saying out here in Western Pennsylvania, a lot of folks don't know that they even need a website yet, so they're still back in 1996. Jackie wants to know, how do you and your team stay up to date with technologies? Do you do purposeful ongoing training, or just kind of on-the-job learning, or what's your strategy?
I try to give everybody what they need to learn. We sent our whole team just went to WordCamp San Francisco, and WordCamp Philly and New York and Baltimore. So I like to send everybody to WordCamps, so they're like just kept up to date. I think just even pushing everyone to be. So we do the 5 for the Future, Matt Muhlenweg's 5 for the Future. We donate 5 hours a week to the WordPress project in general. I think just having everyone involved and connected with the project and the community keeps them up to date on like what's going on. Me personally, I like watching podcasts. I'm always looking through Twitter to see what people are talking about. I read a little bit of books, but not a lot of books. But I like consuming, just constantly consuming what's new technology, what tools people are using on a daily basis, and trying them out or reading more about them.
Well, speaking of tools, everyone, my listeners love to know about the tools that different folks use, kind of what their workflow is. So let's start by talking about your lead generation process. So say you get an email into your website or starting there, somebody inquires about a project. Can you walk me through kind of your customer onboarding?
My lead generation process is our full-time sales and marketing director, Jody. So I don't know. Like I said on other podcasts, it's like get a Jody. Jody is great. She is really good at like sniffing out a lead that's good or a lead that's not a good match. She can assess really quickly like a good project. She can like gauge like how long of a sales cycle, when to stick in with a long sales cycle versus just like, no, this isn't a good idea. So Jody, I don't the one nice thing about owning a business and being a boss is that I don't have to do the things that I don't like doing, and sales is not necessarily a thing I like doing. But she's really great at it.
Okay, right. So the name of your CRM is Jody.
Is Jody? Yes, she uses Salesforce.
Oh, you said Salesforce?
Yeah, she uses Salesforce. We have a form on our website that connects to the Salesforce API and creates a record.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how she keeps up to date with people.
And are most of the is Jody like out cold calling on leads, or is she going based on inquiries coming through your website, or?
Mostly inquiries coming through the website, and she does a lot of networking. And I'll go to networking events with her. I like talking to people, but just the ins and outs of like day-to-day sales, it's not fun.
We've got some drama happening on Twitter right now. There's Jackie wanted to know if you use Genesis, and then Ben chimed in that I would never surely let anybody on the show that didn't use Genesis. But here's the deal: diversity reigns. So I knew beforehand that you do not use Genesis, but do you use, or does your team use Starter Framework, or have you rolled your own, or what's your development process?
We have a starter theme that we've been working on for over 2 years. The base of it is underscores. I'm a big underscores fan. So we've created the starter theme with underscores, some of our own templating, and custom post types and theme options framework that we've been working on for a long time. And that's what we use to deploy new sites. So it gives us this big head start with a new project. So I like doing our own thing. I like creating as many theme options for people as they need. I really want websites to be super easy for our clients moving forward to maintain. Not saying that I don't have enough experience in Genesis to know, but not saying that you can't do the same thing with Genesis. But that's how that's the starter theme that we have developed.
Yeah, I really, my philosophy is to each his own when it comes to what how you start a project.
And me too.
Firm believer that definitely use an existing code base, whether you wrote it yourself or somebody else did. Like underscores, just not to, you don't have to recreate the wheel every time. Mm-hmm. So what's your, you mentioned that one of the great things about being the boss is you don't have to do things that you don't like to do, like sales and marketing. What is it that that fires you up?
The thing I like doing most is building themes. That's when I'm happiest. That's when I love doing that. After that, project management. I do a lot of project management. And now I'm at this phase of really just trying to improve our systems here at Yikes. Finding what we're weakest at and making that better. And just figuring out our path to success, I suppose. And just how can we be continually improving what we do and doing a better job for our clients, and just making the best quality product that we can.
You mentioned making it easy for your clients moving forward to maintain their sites. Do you end a project with a service level agreement, or are they kind of off and running doing their own thing, or both?
Both. It really depends. Some clients you They just want to, even though you've made this fantastic website for them, they just want you to do it for them. They just, they'd rather pay you a retainer to just do whatever they want you to do, even if it's as simple as like changing some text on a page. They just don't want to do it, and that's fine. That's great. We're happy to do that. Other clients, they want to maintain the site moving forward. So it really depends on the client.
When it comes to that maintenance side, do you offer specific like tiered packages, or is it sort of custom?
We do. We have a maintenance package which includes backups, constant monitoring for security, updates like core updates within 24 hours. It's usually same day because I always know when an update to WordPress is coming out, and then plugin updates once a month. So we have that as like our maintenance package, and we try to roll that into every contract that we do because it's so important. It's like we have older clients that never took us up on this, and their sites are just like, I don't even know what version they're on. They don't keep their sites up to date. So that's the kind of stuff that like worries me, So we try to, in every one of our contracts, you have to actually opt out of that because it's just so important for security. And I think they're getting a great value to not have to worry if their site is going to be hacked, or if something happened, if there wasn't a backup, and that everything's going to be kept up to date. So that's one thing we do. And then on other clients, it's like on a per project basis if they want to pay us a certain amount per month for maintenance, like beyond just updates, but actually, feature improvements or further work on the site or content maintenance.
I like that you make them opt out of it. So it's a very it's conscious, the decision that they're making to accept that ongoing maintenance or take it upon themselves. I like that. Jackie had a question, and she wants to know, what are the most challenging things that your clients ask for?
Gosh. I don't know. I'd have to think about that. It's like some people just think up the wackiest things that aren't necessarily logical, I think some people think that they need way more than they do and actually make it much more complicated than it needs to be, especially when the visitor, doesn't want all this information. They just want, I think some people don't understand. It's like when they come to your website, they just want to find the information that they want to find quickly, and then take action from there. And I think some people think of a website as this linear process. I go to this page and that page and that page, and and it's just sometimes like the logic behind what some people want really doesn't make any sense.
So do you kindly tell them, hell no, that's a stupid idea, or you just let them go with it?
No, we try to be as friendly and nice as possible about it, but and just kind of let them know what usual visitor behavior is like, and actually it's going to be beneficial to them to not have a million sliders and 1,000 pages.
So working with nonprofits, is fundraising a pretty common component on these sites?
Fundraising, reporting. Sometimes nonprofits have to collect certain data. Like we build a lot of applications, really online applications for nonprofits, because they're getting funding to do this certain thing, and then they have to report back to their funder on how it went, and on all the data they collected. So there's a lot of reporting and data collection for nonprofit clients. So I'd say fundraising isn't the number one. I guess it's more fulfilling the demands of their funders of whatever they got funding for.
Gotcha. Good stuff. Ben has an astute question. He's asking or commenting that you started off as a partnership. Do you think that that's a key to growing a larger, successful agency, or has that been would you have done it differently?
No, I wouldn't have. I think that is really key as to why we started off as a business and not just I went freelance. I was an individual, then I was freelance, and then I like taking on those first couple of employees as a single person would be really tough. That would be hard. But with the three of us, and we all had really complementary skills. Like if it was just me and I had to do the accounting, the sales, and make websites, I don't know if I definitely would not, I wouldn't be where I am today if that were the case. But with the three of us, with me as like the, design person, Vicky, she was the super geek. She like programmed in Perl and did all this fancy stuff. And then Mia is, so good with clients and project management and accounting and bookkeeping and all that other stuff that, so with the three of us and our different skill sets, we were able to get a lot further, I think, than if it was just one person. And taking that leap from one person to 2 to 3 people. It's hard, it's scary, to do.
Absolutely. And, you bring up the point that your wife is one of your partners, and I know she's listening right now, so you may want to temper your answer. But speaking personally, I know that if I shared office space with my husband, or that we were in the same, well, like murder or divorce would happen. How is that presented a challenge, or is that just the way you interact is that's a good thing?
No, it's not a challenge. It's not for everyone, definitely. I get asked this question a lot, and it's usually like, followed by, I'd kill my partner if we had to work together or whatever. But we really like each other. Our desks are right next to each other. I like working with her. Like our skills are really complementary. Our personalities are also complementary. Now it's just the two of us that own the business. Vicky. Okay. She's in Switzerland. I don't know what she's doing now, massage therapy or something. But she committed to 5 years, and then after 5 years she moved on. But we're still really good friends. But I think it would be weird if I came home, then Mia came home. We have to tell each other what our days were like. Like that would be strange. So I just I really like working with her. So it works. The part that is difficult is turning it off. Like it's easy to come to work and not be in couple mode, just be in work mode. It's much more difficult to make the transition from work to home. And we have an 8-year-old daughter, and she could care less about anything we do. She just wants to talk about cats and all the.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to hear about our workday at all. So we have to turn it off on the car ride home because she doesn't want to hear it. So that's more difficult. But I don't know, we've been doing it for a long time, and I love it. I wouldn't want to live any other way.
Cool. I've had some other guests, Brian and Jennifer Bourne, on, and they run a business together, and both, clearly are working together, but they have separate offices, and sometimes one works remotely. But I guess it's just everybody's different in how that
definitely, yeah,
how that plays out. I'm kind of bouncing all over the board here, but we're taking it as it comes in. Inquiring minds want to know about hosting. Do you have a single host that you prefer to work with, or depending on the client's needs, you go a different direction? Or
yes, I love WP Engine, and we've incorporated WP Engine as part of our our process now, because I love WP Engine because they're a great host. It's secure and fast, and all the caching and CDN all built in, but it also works really well with Git. So we don't have to use a third party like Beanstalk when we work with WP Engine. It's all nice and built in. So I just add everyone to the repo, create a repo, and go boom, WP Engine. And also we can offer our clients the business level hosting for less than the price of the personal plan. So they actually get more for a lower price.
Are you reselling then, or?
Well, it's completely transparent. We let them know that, we let them be part of our business plan, which is like 25 installs. Is a 25 install plan. So it's completely transparent. We let them know that we're giving them an install on our WP Engine business level account.
Nice.
Yeah.
Going back to what you're talking about, adding, using a repository, are you able to set up, I haven't done this with WP Engine, can you set up automatic deployments from your commits? Or,
yes.
I mean, not that you maybe want to do that on a live site, but.
Well, you can. It's great because you can have WP Engine is so easy to create a production, like a development copy of any install. So what we do is usually have a production repo and then a development one. So you can keep making commits and pushing to production when everything looks all great. I mean to the development. Staging, and then when everything looks great, you push it to development live. So that's the process that we use with Git on WP Engine.
Yeah, I recently started using Beanstalk, and it's
Philly company.
Oh, are they? Nice.
Yeah, they're in like 2 neighborhoods from here.
Have you ever gotten to swing by their office? And
no, I haven't actually, but yeah. But I love Beanstalk. It's great.
Well, you need to stop by, ask for a free coffee mug or something. I actually got an email from them saying I've been a customer for 3 months or whatnot, thanking me, and what's my address? They would like to send me some swag. And I was like, wow, that's really kind of unexpected and a nice little customer service touch. And I'm a total sucker for free swag. Let's see. So let's talk about trends. In 1996, we were just trying to help people figure out what the heck email was. And now, or over the past couple of years, making your website accessible for mobile devices has been the big thing. What do you see trending next?
Oh, gosh. Well, one thing that we've done is that we used to say, like, do you want your site to be responsive or not? We don't do that anymore. It's just like every project we do is responsive now. I don't think we'd even give people the option to opt out of that. That just doesn't make any sense. So everything we do is responsive out of the box. Trends, gosh, I don't know. I hope parallax scrolling goes away. That's one thing. And sliders. I would like sliders to go away as well.
Like actually be legally banned from websites. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, parallax looks really cool, but from a usability and accessibility perspective, it's
and SEO and content management, and it's a pain in the butt.
The whole kit and caboodle. Well, I'll ask you this. One of the Web Savvy Marketing, who's one of the largest theme shops in the Genesis space, just this week announced that they went and retrofitted their entire theme library to be both translation ready and right-to-left language support. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of a big. It created a lot of excitement from an international user base and has gotten lots of positive feedback. Do you see that as sort of being the standard as opposed to a feature that's just sort of expected? Like now we expect sites to be mobile responsive, that moving forward we expect sites to be, or at least public, maybe not for a client site, that wouldn't make sense, but for public products, to incorporate internationalization?
Definitely. Well, that was a big theme of WordCamp San Francisco and the state of the word. Definitely. And the fact that English downloads of WordPress was not the the number one demographic. It was in the minority, so that was really interesting. One of my programmers, Carlos, got involved with the Polyglots group. Now he's helping translate WordPress core into Mexican Spanish. So I was really psyched that he got involved with that, and he was, he's really into it. So yeah, definitely, and accessibility too. I felt like accessibility got blown off a little bit in the state of the word, but they're really passionate people who are involved in the project who are pushing to, have WordPress be a leader in that space. So I think that's great, and it's not just because it's the right thing to do, but then there's also it's going to be a legal requirement, and it is a legal requirement already in other countries. So yeah, accessibility, internationalization, I think those are, fantastic things.
Yeah, I've had both those things in my craw here lately, and enjoyed learning about them. And what's good for your customers is good for you. And then of course what's good accessibility wise is also a nice byproduct. It's great for your SEO. So.
Right. I saw at WordCamp New York, my friend Svetlana, she gave a talk on accessibility, and she's deaf, and it was just mind-blowing. It's not just that, oh, you have to do this thing, but it's like you are leaving out a giant group of people if your site's not accessible. So that it just, I hope it's on WordPress.tv soon, and everybody should go see it, because it was a really eye-opening presentation. And I think it'll shift your mind from thinking, oh, accessibility is this annoying thing I have to do to my website, into like, no, this is really important, and there's huge groups of people that are being left out if your site is not accessible.
And I think as people get more used to doing things that are accessible with their sites, it'll become less of an afterthought. Oh, I built this plugin or this theme, and now I got to go back and make it accessible. So you start out making decisions that are in line with accessibility. I'm going back right now, and I released a theme last year called Utility, which is it was an okay theme, but I'm reworking it now to be fully accessible, or at least as accessible as it can be. There's some accessibility issues in Genesis that would prohibit it from being 100% accessible. But there's a Rion Retveld, I'm probably butchering her name, but she's created a great little plugin called Genesis Accessible that addresses those issues, and so a theme used in tandem with that plugin can actually be fully accessible, which is cool.
It's great.
Yeah, sorry. Accessibility sidebar. Whoop, whoop. Let's see. We have a question. Do you have favorite SEO tools? And I guess from maybe a two-pronged question. One, from actually optimizing a site, and then two, from, or secondly, how you are going about on the analytics side of things.
Well, for our clients, we always install the Yoast SEO plugin, which is my favorite. And we, hook them all up with analytics. Like, that's just part of what we do for the launch process. But and then we'll, we always do some training. Training comes with each one of our projects, and I will, go over just basic SEO practices with them and show them how the plugin works. And the thing I love about the plugin is that it's almost gamified. You really want to get that green, that green dot. So you it's almost like a game. So yeah, the Yoast SEO plugin is my favorite WordPress SEO tool.
And then are you doing, do you do keyword research or anything like that ahead of time to kind of steer your clients in a direction, or?
No, we, if they are into, we don't really do the marketing piece. We do the website building piece, and we have a partner that we work with, Philly Marketing Labs. Like if they want to get deep into SEO and SEM, we kind of refer them over to them, and they do a really great job.
Awesome. Know your strengths, outsource the rest.
Right.
Question from Devender: do you have a preferred project management tool? Do you use Basecamp or Trello?
I use Trello. Trello is my favorite. I've Trelloed everything in my life at this point. I've Trelloed child, I've Trelloed our house, parent-teacher conference, like card for that, done. Yeah, so I love Trello. I've started using Trello with, like if we're working on a project that is using maybe a graphic designer that did the, if it's like kind of like a PSD to WordPress job, and I'm working with a graphic designer, I've started like opening up Trello to them and experimenting with opening up Trello to our clients as well. I love it. I'm a visual person. I love being able to open it up and see where the project's at, see what needs to be done next. I love the to-do lists and assigning people's to-do lists. And it's really improved our workflow tremendously. I'd say we started using that within the last year. It's been great. And since the WordPress community started using Slack instead of IRC, and everybody in the WordPress team here started using Slack, we just made Slack a company-wide thing. And it's so great because you can integrate Trello with Slack, and you can have Trello notifications pop up on a Slack channel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And GitHub, and it hooks up with GitHub too, so like GitHub notifications can also write to a Slack channel.
Awesome. Are those direct integrations with Slack, or are you having to use like Zapier or something like that to connect?
Direct. It's just a little option in Slack. You just put down the there's a whole like control panel for your integrations, and so you can create new ones. All
right. Going to get nosy and ask about your accounting and invoicing.
Right.
What kind of system do you have in place for that?
We use QuickBooks for accounting, and we've been around for 1 million years, right? So we use this really super old open source program for hours, for recording hours, called W2P. And that's the next tool that we're trying to replace, because it's old, and so nobody's working on it anymore, but we've been using it for over 10 years to track our hours. So we have all the hours for a project, and we log our hours there, and that's how we create our invoices. But now it's kind of slow, and people really want to use, and now that we're using Trello and it's so fast and it's just so easy to use, we want to find something that maybe Trello could integrate with to track our hours. But we call it we call this thing Dottie, because it used to be called Dot Project, and it changed into W2P, so we just call her Dottie. But Dottie's, the thing that's nice about Dottie is we have tracked our hours, for all the projects we've done for over a decade. And so we've gotten really good at creating quotes, because we know exactly how long it takes us to do something. And we see, we can see what projects have gone over, what projects have gone under. And so now, we have all this legacy data, and we gotta, but now she's clunky, Dottie. So that's the next thing I have to really research and figure out a good replacement for that.
She's getting a little ancient.
Yeah, I love Dottie, but yeah, she's not as slick as the new tools that are out now.
I've been using Toggl, Toggl, for project time tracking. I don't know, I have to see if there might be some sort of a Trello integration, but it's kind of nice. You can start the clock and assign it to a specific project. It's kind of similar to Harvest in that regard, but it's free. It's handy.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
At least for a single user.
It would be nice not to have one more separate tool that doesn't talk to the other tool. That's what I really want. I want a way for Trello to have all our projects in Trello and track everyone's time. But it's like going from there to creating an invoice is where it would be difficult. Dottie, run reports, create invoices, you're done. But so we need to find something new.
Do you guys are you in an agile environment, or does everybody kind of have their own department that they take care of stuff in?
Well, I mean, I do a lot of project management, and so does Mia, and so I'd say that within our different projects, we're a team. We work as a team, and we use weekly meetings and everything to like find out where everything is. But it's not like a giant team of people, so you could have maybe from 1 to 4 people working on a single project. So I just use Trello and meetings, and we're not remote, so just turning around and talking to people to keep the flow going with projects. So, and there is small instances where one person is just working on one little thing, but it's usually just a maintenance task.
I had to mute myself. I've got a very loud airplane going over, and my dogs, they howl every time those planes fly over to try to match the pitch.
Oh, no.
It's quite loud. Sorry that I managed to distract myself a little bit. For folks who are listening, got a few minutes left here with Tracy, so if you want to get a question in, please go ahead and do that. Also wanted to mention, and thanks to Jackie for the reminder, Tracy, you were on the Matt Report here recently. So if you're listening to this and you just cannot get enough of Tracy, go to mattreport.com and check out that interview. I listened to that a while back. It's fantastic. Let's see, you just brought up the point that all of your employees are right there in the office with you. Do you have any remote workers?
Everybody gets like a work from home day a week. And not everybody takes advantage of it. Like, I like coming to work. I like office shenanigans. I like, I'm a social person. Like that first, when we first started, and I was the first one to quit my job, it was just like me in a tiny little room, and there was a bunny. We had a bunny in the room and a dog, and just like I was so lonely and just going crazy. So I like coming to an office. I like talking to people. And also, if we're really, with our triple bottom line, people, planet, profit. That's a sustainability thing. Like, we really want to support our employees, in life, and have a good life-work balance. So when people have kids and stuff like that, we work it out, with a remote working, flex time, whatever it takes, so you can do what you need to do, with your life. So yeah, it's like I'm not anti-remote work, but I don't know. I just find that having people around, at least for some of the week, it's really helpful in communication and getting stuff done.
All right. Well, if you are somewhere besides Philly and you thought you might want to throw in an application, forget about it. Totally kidding. Okay, so we've talked a lot about various tools and things that you've got going on. Do you have a favorite or recent find that has revolutionized your life? Plug-in, podcast.
Recent find. Here's the thing. Okay, has revolutionized my life. Gamification, game storming. I'm sorry, not gamification. Game storming. I was working on this event with someone who works at another company, and he's big. He's a project management, and the way that this is, over a year ago, and the way that he ran things, and he did everything with game storming, with post-it notes and stickers and markers and whiteboards, and and it's just like he was able to get to the heart of things so quickly and get group consensus, or at least show how a group was thinking so quickly with these techniques. I'm like, this is really great, So Discovery, I know that I feel like Yikes we love to get stuff done. Like, we love to, work and make a really good product, but maybe where we were weakest is discovery. because instead of doing a lot of talking, we want to do a lot of doing. So I'm like, okay, well, let's up our discovery game. We need to have a better discovery process. So I looked into the game storming and made a kind of hybrid discovery process. So I've worked on this for several months, and then started to incorporate it with our new projects. And for people, love it. The client is happy. It helps us with our work, and for every project that I've used this new discovery process with, like hit the design on the head, like first try. So that's something that's really, I feel like, changed my life. Like just spending a lot of time in research and try to make a better discovery process, and use a lot of game storming techniques in that.
+1 for discovery.
Right.
It takes so much guesswork out, and then doing that, before you make a quote on the project, lets you make such a more educated offer to a client. I love it. Okay, we got just a few minutes left here, and Carolyn is commenting. You mentioned earlier that you do internships. Can you talk a little bit about them?
Sure.
Give it a roll.
We do internships, unpaid through schools, and then also paid internships. And I like teaching people. I'm also I'm co-lead of the make.wordpress.org/training team. So I do love teaching people to use WordPress and teaching people things. And so we will have interns that maybe, we can't teach you from nothing. We just don't have enough time. But we'll have people who are maybe starting out, or have some, self-taught or taken a lot of classes in web design development, either programming or design or front end. And we'll have like a internship where we will give them a lot of support. We'll kind of throw them into work and then give them resources for learning, but also sit down and give people a lot of support. And I like Chris Lemma wrote a blog post about hiring new folks, and people often advertise that they want the ninja or the rock star out of the box, but there are people who all they need is just some support, and they can really improve their skills and become that experienced and really good designer or developer. So those are the kinds of people that we have for our internship program. And historically, interns have been turned into employees in the past, so it's good.
Totally agree that taking that kind of diamond in the rough, if you will, you can actually mold them.
Because we were all that person.
Yeah.
There was all a time in our life when we were that person who didn't know yet, what we know now. And you just need the right support to get there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tracy, for dropping just good advice, good wisdom. It's cool to hear about other people's businesses and how they do things. Let's see, we're about to wrap up here, but just wanted to thank our sponsor again, Winning Agent. You can go to carriedeals.com/winning offer to get a special, highly discounted setup of the Winning Agent theme on your website with your content. Check that out. Also, if you are checking this out on iTunes later and you like what you hear, would love you to leave a comment and a review. If you hate it, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Totally kidding. Tracy, where can folks find you online if they want to connect with you?
My company website address is yikesinc.com, yikesinc.com. If you want to learn about Yikes. I tweet at Lil Jimmy. And I also have a personal website, thetracyl.com, no E in Tracy, where I blog and talk about all different kinds of things.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time tremendously and sharing your wisdom with our audience. And everybody who's listening, have a great weekend, and we will catch you next time. See ya.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.